Welcome to this conversation with the C-suite, where we will be looking at how a global sustainability agenda is translated into regional practice. My name is Emily Jackson. I'm the SVP of Sustainability at the Economist Group. And I'm delighted to be joined today by Peter Herweck, the Chief Executive Officer of Schneider Electric, and Gwenaëlle Avis-Huet, Executive Vice President of Europe Operations and member of the Executive Committee of Schneider Electric. We are going to look at how executive committee members work together to drive sustainability at every level of the organisation and understand how they collaborate on a strategy that recognises the local context of where the organisation is operating. We'll look at the role of communication and how driving the ESG agenda forward benefits the organisation as a whole. I'd like to start by understanding what sustainability means for Schneider Electric. So Peter, having come into the role as Chief Executive Officer of Schneider Electric in May 2023, having served for several years on the leadership team of the organisation, what does sustainability mean for Schneider Electric? And in your view, is sustainability something that has fundamentally changed the company purpose and business strategy?
Well, thank you very much, first of all, Emily, for having me. You know, when you speak about sustainability at Schneider, people are excited. They're excited because, behind sustainability, it is really, we think energy and climate are interlinked. 73% of carbon emission come from energy. And, we're an energy management, automation, digitization, a company, a tech company. And we believe by creating digital solutions for sustainability and efficiency for our customers, we can create great impact. And we love talking about impact in the company. So, from that perspective, we're an enabler, but also a practitioner ourselves for 15 years already. So it's deeply embedded in the company. Over 20 years of ESG practice, and recognized by the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, Corporate Knights, and other renowned rating agencies. And with that, it is deeply with our people, and that's really very, very, very important. So we believe it's not only a competitive advantage to drive it, but we've also shown that you can actually, in being compliant, you can be more competitive. And that's something that we've proven over time. So today we operate in more than 100 markets with more than 135,000 employees. And we've shown growth of 4x in the last 20 years. And our market cap has tripled in the last 9, so it's been very good for us, and the whole team is engaged in it from the top floor to the ground floor.
And Gwenaëlle, from a regional perspective, picking up on the markets that Peter was just talking about, how do you ensure that the strategy is a reality at that regional level, and how do you ensure that that a strategy that the executive committee has defined works in the local context, taken the environmental or political or regulatory constraints, or, if you look at energy needs or peace, stability, how do you translate that into the regional practice?
Yes, thank you very much, Emily, for the question. So I would say that sustainability and strategy has completely gone together always in the company, and therefore it's not only setting the scene on the sustainability front, it's making sure that in every strategic decision, sustainability is part of the decision. And I think it's going that way for many years because it's the whole culture of the company that is focused on sustainability. So when we do an acquisition, for example, we take into account the sustainability footprint. When we decide about capital allocation for strategic purposes, we take into account sustainability. And this is done at every single level of the organization. As Peter was rightly saying, it's been so many years, like 15 years of investments on sustainability. It's deeply, deeply embedded into the culture, the whole culture of the company. And not only in what we are doing in terms of strategy for the whole company, but what we are doing towards our clients, towards our partners, towards our suppliers, for example. It's the whole value chain that we embark into this strategy. And that is making us unique. In addressing our different clients in buildings, data centers, infrastructure, industry, the way we interact with many of those clients is through the sustainability angle. And that's a true positioning that is coming along in every single geography where we are.
So how do you deal with some of the challenges in your largest markets outside of Europe? So say the US or China, are there examples that you can share where you bring that strategy to life in those regions?
First, the biggest element of our strategy is to be extremely local. So everything that we design, in terms of strategy and sustainability at corporate level is deeply embedded in each and every geography. We are organized in hubs. We have 4 hubs: India, China, the US, and Europe. And in each of those large markets, we are deploying different solutions that are addressing this particular market. For example, in the United States, because of the question about resiliency, the grid is not available all the time. You have intermittency on the grid, and therefore we see more and more clients requesting for some kind of solutions to be much more resilient in terms of energy. And therefore, in many different areas, we have been requested much more microgrid solutions. This is the case in different areas in the United States. It can be the case in California. It is the case in other states, but I think this is something that is taking off, and microgrid is a solution that is both addressing resiliency and sustainability. You switch from on-grid to a system that is based on solar plus batteries plus what we call energy management system. One other example is what we're doing with KB Home in California. Numbers of homes that wants to be fully efficient and that wants to be fully resilient. In that case, we develop again a kind of microgrid with a storage that is shared among 100 homes in California. And therefore, they are more resilient all together. They're all connected with solar, with batteries, much more resilient. This is one area for the USA market. In Europe, we have the energy crisis. So here we can bring solutions like building renovation, light renovation, medium renovation. So we can work on the building in order to decrease the energy consumption in a building. And this is top relevance with the energy crisis and when energy prices are skyrocketing. You see, different solutions, tailor-made, and local decisions.
Well, Emily, if
Peter,
I may add,
yes,
if I may just add one sentence to it, because many people believe it is either or, and if you are more sustainable, it is against your economic profile or against your economic targets. We have proven as Schneider ourselves, we have proven that it is not the case. Quite the contrary. This makes a lot of sense because, as Gwen pointed out, you can reduce the consumption of energy. It's a huge part of your bill of material, and with that you do good because you use less energy. But you also do well for yourself because you drive down the cost. There is energy, there is a CO2 footprint, there is also efficiency, which results in it. So, from that perspective, it is not either or, it's an and relationship between the two.
That's a really interesting point, and the one about a fiduciary duty as you, as Schneider Electric, have to your shareholders. I mean, how do you bring them along in the journey? I mean, yet now you're seeing it, Schneider is highly innovative, it's a growing organization, but when you are working on that long-term strategy, how do you advocate for your strategy with the shareholders, Peter?
So, I think it's well understood with our shareholders that we're not a social welfare organization. We're a listed company. And as I said, we've also made a business out of helping our clients in their sustainability journey with consulting, with digital offers, and also with the services where we can help them to do better. For us, it means since 2003 we've quadrupled our business from 9 billion to 34 billion. So there has been some fabulous growth to it. We ourselves have worked on our energy intensity with our buildings and our factories. And every year, since many, many years, we're driving a productivity of 15%. And I can give you some examples that the payback period is also very reasonable. That's what investors also look like. For one of our buildings that we have is one of the award-winning buildings. Just recently in Grenoble, where a lot of our engineers sit, we use a 37 kilowatt hours per square meters per year. And that is 10 times less than other average European buildings. Now, and then if you have a payback period that is less than 5 years, it makes economic perfect sense to do these things. And we do the same with clients. So it's we do it to ourselves, we do it with our clients, and they're better off. We're better off. The planet is better off. It's win-win-win.
So now let's shift the lens back to your workforce, which is significant. You have 135,000 employees worldwide. And, how do you unify them behind the purpose that they innovate, that you work together, that the business goal is driven forward? How do you, or how have you over the past years achieved a critical mass within the workforce, but also within the executive team behind a unified purpose?
Well, as you rightly said, the unified purpose is embedded at every level of the organization, and it starts with numbers of KPI that we have announced and we have published externally, but are deeply committed, for which I would say all our employees are deeply committed. It's not just a team at a corporate that is implementing those KPI. It's all across the organization that it's fully embedded. And I would like to highlight that because in terms of commitment, we consider that sustainability, it's something super serious about, and it comes with innovation, because in all those areas, we are discovering by learning. For example, nowadays, everybody is talking about circularity. And there is a lot going on onto all those new topics. So it's not only energy per se, but it's how we treat the products, how we take back, how we orchestrating the circularity on those topics. And therefore, we truly believe that in this kind of topic, we really need to make sure that we connect with the customer's mindset, what they expect to stay ahead of the game for a company like us, and at the same time to bring innovation. And this is coming from our people, from our employees. When you look at the KPI that we have committed to by 2025, this is super ambitious. This is not only reducing the emissions from our customers, and this is all our salespeople, reducing the emissions from our customers by more than 800 million tons. This is one area that we're committed by 2025. But not only that, we have a target to reduce the emissions of our own suppliers by 2025. Again, half of their emission. Again, this is hugely ambitious. And again, it's all our teams negotiating with our suppliers to embark them in this journey. But not only that, we have a commitment to bring access to energy, or to train people on energy management and industrial automation, because we need more qualified people on those domains. So just wanted to highlight a few of them to show the spread or the extent of all the commitments and the ability to deliver by bringing those commitments across the organization and making sure that everybody in this company has a role to play in this sustainability journey.
You talked about the commitments that you've made, and you've set 6 long-term commitments with a number of different metrics, and you're communicating about them on a regular basis. I mean, Peter, which would you say of those have been the toughest, the most challenging to realize, and how have you gone about overcoming them and working on those?
First of all, one of the things I want to add is that we do actually follow science-based targets. So, I think it's something very, very important that whatever you put out is auditable is audited and has a science substantiation to it. I think one of the bigger challenges that many people face out there is not necessarily anymore scope 1 and 2. I think one of the challenges is scope 3, and what Gwenaëlle has hinted to it. We've been working with 1,000 of our suppliers and engage them into a reduction of their CO2 footprint for us. And this has been so successful and so embracing and so engaging with our clients that we've started initiatives also in different industries. So we've started, for example, decarbonization initiative in the semiconductor industry that we call Catalyze. So you have large players who are embracing in it because they have targets, they want to work for their clients, and it is quite helpful on the supply chain side. I think that's one of it was one of the more challenging things, but one of the things I experience is as we're gaining momentum with industries, and we've not only done this in semi, but also in other fields. We really make an impact together from that perspective, and it helps scale the efficiency. Scaling does matter quite a bit. And then, of course, at the end of the day, you will also have decisions to make at a certain point in time. When you're further down the journey, you come to the very, very hard decisions where you say, for this one, I do need some investment. But, I always say if we're saying A, we also need to say B. We do the investment, and it proves at the end of the day that it can be done in an economic feasible way, meaning we're creating shareholder value by doing it.
Gwenaëlle, as we come to a close of our session and we're approaching COP28, where the global stock take is due to be presented, what are your expectations and what actions are you hoping to see?
Well, I was at the last COP in Egypt. There was a lot of discussion around what's the transition about, and what we brought into the discussion is solutions. We wanted to talk solutions rather than just wording on big international discussions, but to think solution. Because in those discussions, people may think that this is something for the future, for 2050, this is far away, nothing is available, etc., and there will be some breakthrough by that time. In reality, what we wanted to bring in COP27 and what we will bring into the discussion for next COP is that solutions already exist. It's a matter of scale, of rapidity of deployment, and making sure that all technologies are on the table right now. When you look at today, energy transition is very much thinking about renewable energy. In reality, we have to showcase that the bulk of the solution is based on efficiency on the demand side. That's what we brought on the table on COP27. So the expectation for next COP28 in Dubai, is to be much more pragmatic. We have solutions today available. Why not bringing them at scale? Why not relying on them and much broadly? And that's what we would like to bring, and making sure that at the end of the day, people realize that there is no time to waste. At the pace of development today, we will not reach the 1.5 degree scenario, but much further, much higher. And this is just not acceptable when we think that technologies today are already available. So I would say COP of pragmatism.
And so in the context of COP28 and your sustainability commitments and goals, what can we expect to see from Schneider Electric in the future?
So we will fully engage into the COP28, and I fully understand what Gwenaëlle said. It needs to be a COP of pragmatism. It is good that more corporates are involved. As a matter of fact, I also think it's good that we have the energy sector involved this time, so we're not speaking above them, but we make them part of the solution which we need, and it is important. And maybe in addition to what Gwen said, that it must be a fair transition. That's why we have also given commitments not only on the environmental side, but also on the human side, where we help and bring people into their homes being electrified as an example, because electricity or access to energy is the passport to a better life. And that's what we're trying to drive, and that's what excites our people at Schneider, and I'm glad to be at the helmet of it to drive it.
That's a fantastic note to end the session on. Thank you very much to Peter and Gwenelle for this great session, where we found out a bit more about Schneider Electric and how it's aligning purpose and strategy at all levels of the organisation with a positive impact on the environment and society. Thank you very much.